Hey, welcome tonight. We're going to talk about brain health, okay, and how to take your dreams and make them a reality. So when you go to sleep at night, you're dreaming big. We want you to actually remember those dreams and wake up the next morning and be ready to go make those turn into your reality. So dreams into action. Dreaming is not just something that you do at night, but it's something when you do wide open, with your eyes wide open, and that you're actually walking and doing the thing. So we're going to start out with this video because I absolutely love it. I think I shared it on the team page a couple of weeks ago, but it's worth watching again. So I'm going to share my screen. And it's so good. Okay. And here we go.
It's the last goodbye, I swear. I have no regrets, for the past is behind. Tomorrow reminds me just where. Quite see the end. How can I rely on my heart breaking my own two hands? I heard all you said, don't say anything. It's the last goodbye, I swear.
Okay, so I love that. Do you all remember that commercial back in the day? Let me see if I can stop my screen so it doesn't continue to keep playing here on my
distance.
Okay. All right. Do you all remember that commercial back in the day for Under Armour and Michael Phelps, and just how incredibly disciplined he was? You often wonder, like, he was doing it alone. You see him like training alone in the dark, and what you do in the dark comes to the light. So what you do each and every day when nobody's watching you, when you're not on these Zooms, what you're doing to prepare yourself for the next chapter of your life is really what's going to help to put you on the platform, or that particular life that you're dreaming for. That's what's going to help you to get there. So for those of you, and I've said this last week, but for those of you that think that success happens overnight, it just doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes, just like in that commercial, it took him doing things that he didn't want to do. Did you see him shivering? Did you see him doing the things that he didn't want to do to get the results that he wanted? It takes doing those things in the dark to be able to see the results that you want on the other side. So just as a reminder, there's no such thing as overnight success. Overnight success is really days and nights combined of maybe struggle, maybe hardship, maybe doubt, maybe things they're overcoming. Absolutely all of those things to be able to see the success. So I want you to stop comparing your journey to everybody else. Stop looking at somebody and saying, oh, they're winning, they must be doing something right. The only thing they're doing different than you is that they're showing up when they don't want to show up. They're showing up when it hurts. They're showing up when they're fearful. They're showing up and doing things that they don't feel like doing, and they're going against the grain. They're going against the flow. They're going against what they feel like doing, and they're putting the work in regardless. So stop trying to compare yourself to somebody's chapter 20 when you're at chapter 1. It doesn't make sense. You can't do that to yourself. You're self-sabotaging. You have to be realistic with yourself and ask yourself, what chapter am I on? What chapter are they on? And how long have they been at this? And how long have they committed to themselves? Have they committed to themselves each and every day and kept that commitment? I don't know about you all. Like, I broke a commitment to myself today. And I feel terrible about it, because I know when I broke that one commitment to myself today, it's going to be easier for me to tell myself no again tomorrow. Does anybody ever feel like that? Like, if you're like, I'm going to eat well today, oh, we'll just start Monday. Oh, we'll just start tomorrow. It becomes a little bit easier every time that you give in to yourself. So I want you to write these things down because I was listening to a podcast, and I'll give him credit here in a minute, but there were 10 things that he talked about for brain health and really helping your brain to go from like thinking or dreaming about it to action. So I want you to write these things down and really like give yourself a little bit of a test here on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being like you're completely rotten at it, 10 being like you are a boss at it every day. Okay, so there are some differences you'll see in this as we're going through it. And the main question of the podcast was, what is the difference between an amateur and a champion? Okay, I can automatically think to myself, oh, well, a champion just really good at it. They're really talented. And I start kind of giving all these definitions of what a champion is versus the amateur. And I'm not really giving credit where credit is due, and that credit that is due of all the steps that we take along to get there. So number 1, I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. What's your brain diet every day? And what I mean by this, like your food that you put in your mouth really matters. Okay. Now you're talking to someone that ate Taco Bell for lunch. Okay. So I am not perfect, but I also realize that when I put garbage in, I get garbage out. Okay. So what are you doing? Food matters to your brain because it's the first thing that you fuel first thing in the morning. That's why I love our coffee, because it helps to fuel my brain with those nootropics. It helps to fuel my brain with that great fat first thing in the morning when I'm fasting to be able to fire on all 4 cylinders. Okay. Or all 6 or all 8, whatever, all those cylinders that are possible. So your food really matters. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rate yourself when you're talking about your brain fuel? And what's awesome, and as I'll get into it here in just a minute, is we have incredible supplements each and every day that we can take to help with that if you're not real great of your food source. Okay. Number 2 is killing ants. He called it killing ants. And I love this because on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with killing ants? What do you mean by this? How well are you with dealing with self-negative talk? Each and every one of us have it. We all have self-negative talk. We all have a narrative in our brain that is on repeat, okay? We all have that same voice in our head that as soon as we look in the mirror, it says one thing to us, right? And we're constantly combating that. I think we can all safely say that each and every one of us are combating that negativity each and every day, especially in today's world. Do your thoughts really make a difference? Yes, 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 or yes. This guy said yes or yes. They absolutely do. There is no way, shape, or form to say that our thoughts don't make a difference. And if we tell ourselves that our thoughts don't make a difference, we're really fooling ourselves. They really make a huge difference. So if you're looking in the mirror saying, I'm always getting old, like what the heck? What's wrong with these crow's feet around my eyes? And what's wrong with this and what's wrong with that? And you think of it like from a perspective of like, am I ever going to get younger? No, not necessarily, but it's all about perspective. It's all about what you see. And if you're constantly breathing negativity in, or you're constantly on that feedback loop of negativity in your thoughts, it will constantly come out. So garbage in, garbage out. If you're telling negative thoughts, negative's going to come out. And you think of it from a parent's perspective. Any of you that are parents can really kind of understand this. If you start telling your kids something, they live up to that, right? So if you tell them they're a troublemaker, guess what's going to happen? They're going to figure out how to be a troublemaker. If you tell them they're in the sassy pants, guess what they're going to do? They're going to figure out how to be more sassy. So we really have to be very careful with our external words for sure, and how we speak about ourselves, because we give people permission to speak about us that same way that we give breath to ourselves. But we have to be very careful about what we think about ourselves too, or what we think about situations. So how good are you on a scale of 1 to 10 at killing ants, those ants that constantly are going through your brain? Number 3, okay, exercise. How good are you at exercise? 1 to 10. Okay, and I'm talking about brain function. Your number 1 brain function for your brain is what? To move your body. And you've heard this quote before, and I absolutely love it. I love it. But change your body, change your thoughts. If you're ever in a situation where you're in a room and it's feeling like, or you're feeling, just overcome, or you're feeling just kind of angst or just ugh, sometimes it just takes getting up and getting your body moving in another room, in another atmosphere, changing up the atmosphere. So the number one brain function is for movement for your body. Your brain is here to help you move your body. And that's the number one job that it has. And if we live our life very sedentary, which most of us do, and now, in even our world, I think most people do, we have to make it a concerted effort to get up and get moving. And what we do for a living, when we're on our phones, a lot of the times we don't move a whole lot. I didn't realize this until I got my Apple Watch. It was like, Lori, get up, get up. Like, I haven't moved for an hour, it's crazy, right? So we have to make it a really concerted effort to get up and get moving, because that is going to help us to change our mind. They even say that smoking or sitting is the new smoking. Do you realize that? That's awful, right? So you're like, I don't smoke and I eat well, but if you're not getting your movement in every day, that's what your brain was created for. So exercise, I'm going to encourage you to marry two things together. Listen to a podcast, listen to some praise and worship music, listen to even your Bible app. If you do quiet times each and every morning, you can get those read to you just by pushing the little arrow button. It will read them to you. So I want to encourage you to marry two things together so you feel like you have time to do them. Moving your body and your mind at the same time is so important. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, put where you're at on that. Number 4, brain nutrients. That's going to go back to kind of number 1 about that brain fuel. But brain nutrients, our brain needs particular nutrients every day outside of our food. And I would encourage you, if you're not utilizing our coffee, if you're not utilizing our best fat fuel, that has got so much brain fuel in it to help you get firing on all cylinders. So I'm going to leave it at that. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're not running your shipment, make sure you run your auto shipment on things that are going to help you get moving in your brain and help you to really combat those negative thoughts, help you to stay as healthy as possible with your brain so that way you can run and grab those goals. Number 5, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your positive peer group look like? And I said positive. Okay, what's your peer group look like? Are they always negative? Are they always like, I don't think I can do this. I don't know how to do this. I've never been able to do this before. Oh gosh, I wish I was here. Instead of a group that says, I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna do it. I don't know the steps, but I'm figuring them out. I don't know how this is possible, but I know it's possible. I believe I absolutely can do this. Who are you challenging yourself with? Who is your peer group? Are they people that are constantly draining you? Are they constantly energizing you? If your group is not energizing you, you need to find a new group. It's okay. I've got good friends that I've really kind of had to distance myself from lately. Okay. I love them dearly still, but I can't have them on my everyday right now because they're really negative with life right now. And I'm really sensitive to negativity and I will go down that rabbit hole with them. Okay. So it doesn't mean that I don't love them from afar or send them certain things when I think about them or love on them, but I can't continue to keep hearing their negativity. So how challenged, inspired, energized are you by your group? And your peer is a choice. It's not your family. It's not your downline. It's not the group of people that you happen to be in at the moment. It is what choice of a peer group do you have? What are you choosing? Who are you choosing, better said, to be around each and every day? Because you are a sum of the 5 people that you are around the most. And so if you are constantly working on wanting to rank up, if you're constantly wanting to get your paycheck a little higher, who are you hanging out with? Are you hanging out with people that have a lower paycheck than you? Are you hanging out with people that haven't promoted for years, that are still living on the past of what their success looked like years ago? If it is, it's time to change that peer group up, okay? Number 6, clean environment. How clean is your environment? I am guilty with this, 1 to 10. If my brain or my room cluttered or my office cluttered, then my brain is gonna be cluttered. You can absolutely 100% of the time, I can tell you with guarantee, if you walk into my house and you look at my closet, if it's a mess, you know where my brain's at. If it's clean, you're gonna be like, Lori's got it together. Okay, and I can't tell you how many times that I go clean something up and it makes me feel so good. Have you guys ever experienced that? Like you clean out your junk drawer finally and you're like, wow, I didn't know I had that. Imagine your brain being like your phone. My kids will take my phone because I complain about it dying so quick or whatever. They're like, Mom, all your apps are open. I'm like, oh yeah. You know, the buffering circle, I feel like a lot of times that is my brain. And it's my own fault because it's by choice. I'm not closing my apps out in my brain. I'm not checking off things in my list. I constantly have to get a notebook or even like a pad of a post-it notes, and write down the things that I want to accomplish that day. My 6 list, my daily list, whatever list that you have that you're working off of is so incredibly important to help your environment stay clean. So if you're looking at your desk right now, it's a mess, then I can guarantee you, friend, that your brain is too. And there's only so much that you can hold in your brain. And then after that, you're not retaining anything. You can jump on every training possible and never be able to soak in the information because it's so cluttered. Okay, we are amazing company that has amazing resources, but sometimes it's a little much, and then we leave our brain is fried and we don't even know what the first step to take is. And so how clean is your environment? Your external world is a reflection of your internal world. That's powerful. So if your external world's a mess, then I promise you we're looking at just a mirror reflection of what your internal world looks like. It's really, truly a feedback loop. So if you clean your closet and that looks good, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel good and you're going to do good and you're going to be able to get more accomplished, okay? Clarity of thought is so important. It is so incredibly important. I have got a couple of notes that I want to read to you. Jim Quick was the guy that wrote this did this podcast. I thought it was so good. He's a master of brain health. I don't know what his credentials are, but he was just a master of brain health. And he was asked after a boxing match. He's not a boxer. He watched Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he asked the two of them, he said, what does it take to be a champion? And their response was, it's pushing past the pain. It's pushing past the pain and knowing, I'm going to try and mute here. If you jump on, just go ahead and mute yourself. Okay. It's pushing past the pain period. There's pain in relationships. There's pain in health crisis. We can all relate to that right now, right? There's so much pain in your health journey. Any of you on a health journey right now, maybe that's getting more energy. Maybe that's losing weight. Maybe it's just stinking feeling better, right, Deborah? Like having COVID sucks, right? And just all of that is a very painful period. And think of the painful periods that we have in our business. And it's probably not just one, it's multiple pain periods. So when he asked Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, what does it take to be a champion? And their response was, it's pushing past the pain period. Realize that every step along the way, you're going to have some pain. And it's your choice whether or not you decide to push past that pain period to get on the other side. When your mind is wondering and things aren't flowing, it is this time that counts. Just like when you're working out. So any of you work out and you've heard trainers say to you, listen, Tara, you put 5 more reps in, you add a couple more pounds, you do a couple more, you're gonna past where you want to go. You're going to exceed where you want to go. It's the same thing in working in your pain period. So if I am distracted, if I'm a mess, if my mind is wandering and I'm trying to do a power hour, that is all the more reason to dig deep and to find the focus, to find the discipline, because when I train my brain to do these things, it just knows the next time I'm on a power hour, the next time I'm on a Zoom, the next time I'm plugged in and ready to work, that I'm going to be like, no excuses. I know that's painful. I know that's crazy in the background. My kids are screaming, the dogs are barking, but this is life. Life's not going to slow down. There's never going to be a perfect opportunity. And it's like that in your workout. When you push past the pain, that's when you get the results. So for those of you who are like, I'm so close to Ruby, I'm so close to Emerald, I'm so close to my next promotion, you need to really dig your heels in, past the pain, and push through. For those of you that have had babies, can relate to this. It's like pushing through that pain is miserable. But once it's there, it's such a beautiful experience. So I'm telling you, when you're in pain, pain is not necessarily a bad thing. It's your body screaming at you to keep going, to push past through the pain. So I want to encourage you. That was the answer that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone said. And what does it take to be a champion? It takes pushing past the pain. Do you think it's been always easy? No, it hasn't always been easy. And that's why I started tonight with that YouTube video. It was an old commercial for Under Armour, but it's so powerful. All the things that he does, the shaking that he does, he's in pain. He's doing these things alone in the dark by himself at 4 a.m. in the morning when people aren't watching because he wants the result on the other side. And some people said, oh, that was so easy. easy for him because he's so talented. No, friend, he worked his butt off to get the results. And I encourage you to push past the pain to get the results that you want to see. Okay, number 7 is sleep on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you get rotten sleep, to 10 you get the most amazing sleep ever because you're drinking our sleepy tea, right? It's amazing, by the way. Where does your sleep fall? Do you realize this is where you consolidate into long-term memory? So all these trainings that you're plugging into and you're not sleeping well, you can't remember anything that's going on. Have you woke up and you can't like remember what you're supposed to do, remember where your keys are, remember where you put your purse? I mean, we're forgetful. It's not that you have Alzheimer's or dementia. It's the fact that you're not sleeping and you're not dumping out your brain every night. Your number one function for your brain is, what did I say? Activity, physical movement, right? So your body, your brain really works the very hardest at night when your body's at rest. But your brain can't work its awesomeness in the night if your body's not at rest. And so if you're not given ample enough time for your body to rest, you will never be able to retain the information that you need to be successful. So building your muscles, just like when you work out, when you build your muscles, you build them more when you're at rest than you do when you're active. Okay, everybody thinks I just pump some more iron 7 times a week and my body's just gonna pump, I'm gonna get the results. No, what they say, studies have shown that you get better results when you have a resting period. So if you're not resting your brain, then you're not able to set yourself up for long-term success. Your mind is the same as your body. It builds memories when you're in deep REM sleep. And that converts your short-term memory into long-term memory. And if you're not an 8 or a 9 or a 10 on this, mamas, I can relate. You need to change it because it's so ample, imperative, just such a great thing for all of your body health. But when you're talking about staying focused and getting things done, if you're not sleeping, there's no way you're going to be able to do that. Okay, so you've got to find some rhythm that sleeps for you. It allows you to, it keeps your brain in fight or flight. It keeps your brain in this kind of survival mode. You're never able to be creative, innovative, being able to learn new things to help your body and your dreams come to fruition. So I love these. I wrote these down. I thought these were great. Your brain is the most active at night, which I said, and needs your body to rest so it can do its job, okay? Your brain needs to do its job to be creative and innovative. So did you know the sewing machine was created in a dream? Did you know that Paul McCartney wrote the song Yesterday in his dream? Did you know that the periodic table came to a chemist in his dream? So think about this. What are you dreaming at night that could solve a lot of your problems right now in your business that you just forget first thing in the morning? Because you're not getting ample enough sleep. I thought that was so powerful. Somebody wrote a song, a legendary song in their dreams. What? It is when we are most at ease, we are most rested, that we can become the most creative person that we can be. Okay? If we are constantly in survival mode and fight or flight mode, we are not allowing ourselves to be at all creative. Okay, so that's on a scale of 1 to 10. Talk about your sleep. How is your sleep? Okay, 1 to 10, brain protection. Clearly, like helmets and sports and on bikes. I saw that firsthand with my son that had a horrific bike accident right in front of me last year. Gosh, if it would have hit a main artery in his leg, he would have bled out and died. Like, luckily, we got him and got him to the hospital. He got some stitches. It was a nightmare. And that right there, when he wrecked, and I saw it right in front of me, he hit his head and everything. And that's the whole reason that we need to wear bike helmets, okay? And I was never like this fanatical bike helmet person before. But when he said this in this podcast, it really hit me. I was like, okay, I remember that with Fisher and him having his bike accident. We have to really be careful that we're providing some downtime for our brains. We're constantly on our phones 24/7. Now, I'm not going to get into a debate of what these radio waves do to your brain or whatnot, but if any of you are sleeping with your phone underneath your pillow, like, don't do that, okay? If you can, get it out of your room. If you can't, I totally get it. But don't have this thing on all the time. Protect your brain. Number 9, new learnings. Be a forever student. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you on this? Are you learning something new every day? I think it's kind of funny because right before I listened to this podcast, and it was just about a week ago when I heard this for the first time, I was like, whoa, all these things make so much sense. I was just telling my daughter, like, I can't go to bed tonight because I haven't learned anything new. And she was laughing. I'm like, I need to go to YouTube and just find how to take better pictures by myself, or, better pictures for Instagram or something. I need to find something new today. So there was a study done on nuns and why they lived 80 plus to 90 years. And it says the emotional gratitude and faith helped with this, but also the fact that they were lifelong learners. They were constantly getting up and learning something new each and every day. It added years to their life and life to their years. Be a student. Push it, create new brain cells and connections every day, and realize that your brain, it needs sleep, it needs novelty, and it needs nutrition. Well, how are you going to do that? Novelty is a stimulus of ideas. Your brain needs to be exercised, okay? That's why you see people doing the crossword puzzles and I can't think of what the numbers puzzle that they have, this Sudoku or whatever, Sudoku, because those things stimulate brain ideas. So if you ever feel like you're getting stuck in your ways or you don't know a new way, then ask yourself, am I fueling my brain right? Am I sleeping good? Am I exercising my brain to do different things that I would each and every day? So always keeping an open mind to know that you don't know everything there is to know. I've been in the business 9 years and I still don't know everything there is to know. I'm still learning new things, and I want to be able to keep my mind open to new ideas each and every day. Because it stretches beyond creating those new brainwaves. It actually stretches to be able to provide a pathway to your success. I can tell you all these things, and it's crazy. Sometimes I'll do trainings and the light bulb moment will happen for somebody 6 months down the road, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, Lori, if I'd only known. I'm like, friend, we talked about that. Your brain just wasn't empty enough to be able to retain it. And so sometimes when you're on overload, your brain will not retain that information. I love, he gave this quote, he said, sell your cleverness for bewilderment. It's okay to be bewildered. If you are confused or bewildered or you don't know, that's a good thing because you're learning new pathways, new ways for success. So your brain must do energy. Your brain must do focus. It doesn't just come naturally. Your brain must do creativity. You must do these things in order for your brain to fire on all cylinders. Okay, number 10, I think all of us can relate to 10, is stress management. How well are we with stress management on a scale of 1 to 10? It depends on the day for me, if you ask. Sometimes I feel like I'm good. Sometimes I feel like I'm rotten. Okay, so if your brain is too full, I said this like 3 times already, but you can't retain or create new information. So if you're always like, I don't know what to do next. I just did this training and I don't even know what to do. It's probably because your brain is too full. Your brain is only capable of holding so many things. And then it's got to cycle through and get rid of. And so you do that during your REM sleep at night to retain the information that's needed for you to be able to go the next step. How many people didn't realize how much stress they were under until they were hanging out on the beach? How last time you were on vacation, I can remember hanging out on the beach and thinking, I didn't think I was stressed at all, but now I'm like, man, I was so stressed. And now I can just kind of let it go, right? So sometimes you don't understand how much stress you're under until you kind of back away from it for a minute and give yourself a little bit of a break. Fish don't see the water because they're in it all the time, but you take a fish out of the water, what happens? They realize they're out of the water. So you have to make sure that you are putting yourself in a situation that you're not always in this flight or fight situation, that you're in a situation where you have protected your brain health to be able to go to the next level and have new ideas. So it doesn't shut down that creative side of your brain. Stress doesn't help you to do your best. It only helps you to fight or flight. So if you're like me, I could argue and say, well, you know what? I'm a procrastinator a lot of times, and pressure makes me get stuff done. Okay, yeah, when someone puts the pressure on, yeah, it kind of makes me get some stuff done, but it isn't the best, most creative stuff. No. It's what I resort back to what I know, and I do it my old way to get it done. Friend, you will never be able to be more creative unless you're taking those steps forward every day to protect that brain health, to get sleep, give it nutrition, to give it that student life that we're always looking for brand new ideas to cultivate new pathways to success. So stress management is key to your brain health. And so if you are under a lot of stress, I'm not going to go into all the details on the possibilities of what you could do to help relieve stress, because there's all sorts of stress. And if you're not dealing with it, it's going to manifest in other areas of your life. Trust me, in a lot of different areas of your life, including your health. And health is something you can't get back. So I want you to encourage you on those things that we just walked through. On the scale of 1 to 10, if any of those are 7 or under, you need to work on those and find ways to work on those for your own health. Not just for your business health, but for your own health. It's so incredibly important. Okay, I have a video that I want to close out on this Zoom. I know this wasn't your typical like, hey, steps to success and do this to work your business. But I really truly believe you have everything that it takes right here, right now. Steps to success is all it takes for you to be successful in this business. We get paid to do 2 things. What? Enroll customers, enroll distributors. Those are the only 2 things that we get paid to do. The rest is just kind of fluff, okay? But I promise you, if your brain is never set up to work optimally, if your brain is always full, you're never gonna be able to retain that information. I could tell you how to make $1 million a day, step by step, guaranteed. And you would not, if your brain wasn't ready to receive that information, you're not gonna be able to do it, okay? So I wanna close out with this video, because it's another kind of Michael Phelps video, because this one's got a little bit, I think it's like 2 minutes long. It's not real long, but it's got some verbiage in it and some words in it. It's so powerful. And realize that motivation, going back to just getting up and getting motivated and doing all the things, motivation is not a feeling. Okay, if it were, it's very fleeting. You have to be disciplined over that motivation. Discipline, when you make a choice each and every day to be disciplined, that motivation comes because it's a bigger reason why you're doing something. You have purpose behind it. That's so incredibly important for continuing to keep going regardless of your circumstances. Okay, I am getting this video.
This is Kyle. He invented one way to destroy boredom.
Okay.
Turns out
I'm going to put it on here and share the screen. Just always have those stinking ads. And we're going to close it out with this because I think, again, it's so powerful. So just take a minute and watch this.